Okay. Okay.
Hello, and welcome to One-Eyed Fat Man's sculpting page. We're being a little weird out here today. Today, I'm going to walk you through just a little bit of what I'm doing on Godzilla's damaged arm. What I did was I took the arms and I shortened them because they were much too long. Yeah, too long. Definitely too long. Camera sucks. Anyway, my head's just not in this today, but we'll get through it. We've got the damaged and dislocated bones of the shoulder going down into the upper arm. I'm going to have this arm that's going to have a lot of deep gashes in it and open to the elements. Once again, this side of Godzilla is going to have a lot of damage. The other side will have some damage, but not quite as, bad as this side. So we're going to work on some clay now. We're going to stand up here. So hopefully you can see more than just my fat belly. And basically, I'm just laying some clay on the armature, which is a combination of steel wire and actually aluminum armature wire. We also made the arm, instead of it hanging straight down like it wasn't working, he's kind of got it pulled up like the wrist may be broken. You've got the two fingers that are bitten off, and that was kind of the way I went with it this time. I wanted to do a little bit more with the pose of the arm than just hanging there. So back to the armature. Once I did the armature, what I did is I wrapped it with aluminum foil, and then wrapped the aluminum foil with duct tape, and then over top of that duct tape I put some very small floral wire. We got it at a hobby shop to give the clay something to grab onto. And if you all were here with us on Sunday, you saw we had Paranormal Veil Entertainment here, where we were talking about upcoming hunts that they're going on and stuff like that. We may be back on Sunday again with another video with some of the people that were not able to make it that we had for special guests. So that will be announced a little bit later this week, which this week is going by fairly quickly. And ignore the noises coming from the back. That's my 6 and 13-year-old back there having to make sure that they're part of everything. I love my kids. I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. But there are days where I questioned what God was thinking when He allowed us to reproduce. I have this phrase that I make comments all the time to people. Please sterilize yourself. It will make the rest of us a lot happier. Not my kids. But there have been some people I've dealt with this last week. And as you know, One-Eyed Fat Man Studios is located inside the building where Mountain Oddities and Pop Culture Autographs and Collectibles are. And as I'm doing this work, I'm putting out this week that I'm going to run a special on custom pieces or commissions. So you might want to check in the description below. You can also hit like and subscribe here. Hit the bell notification to be updated. Check us out on Patreon. We're trying to... My goal is to take the page, the sculpting page, full-time to where that's what I'm doing. I'm still having a lot of trouble with my right hand. As you notice, I'm not using it near as much as I normally do, and that's because it continues to go numb. But as you can see what I'm doing, I'm just putting clay on. Not really worried about anatomy or muscle. This arm's going to be kind of emaciated anyway because he is dead. The arm doesn't work. And it's going to have some of this deformity that you see in it, I'm going to leave in it. Like the flesh is slowly sliding off the bones and the muscles have deteriorated. and atrophied because of all the damage. So, and then a lot of these things that I'm doing in here, where is my rake? You know, I'm going to continue to work with and make it look like this Godzilla really went through the ringer. Now, one of the things you can do when you're sculpting is you can pull up a lot of reference materials for different animals. With Godzilla, I went with reference anatomy photos of birds, crocodilians, and humans, because Godzilla's main body form, being that it was a man in a suit, even though Legendary wasn't, has a very human-like anatomy and a form. So, kind of looking at that, going back in here and removing some of this clay around the bones here. Now, these bones I made with Kato poly clay and then baked them. And you can see the fingernails, you can see Godzilla's teeth. When I make the dentures, I make the whole thing. This piece here was actually sculpted. I actually paused Godzilla vs. Kong when he's coming to Pensacola and he opens his mouth and roars. This is the bottom part. So, and then I place it in where I need it to be, push it flat, and then give this jaw the once over. Bring it forward correctly, and then of course it will be sculpted together, and then the head will be kind of out here. It's going to be much thicker because I've got a lot to add. I had done the head and I was working on, you know, cleaning up some of the lines, and it got very loud in here that day and I wound up messing it up, so I had to take it back down. Boy, I can't talk today. To its base form. So you're going to see a lot of that where I go back in and I work stuff. And when I take stuff off, it's because either A, I'm moving the position of something, or it's too thick, or it's too big on one side. So I do a lot of going back and forth and looking at what I'm sculpting, making sure I'm getting it even. And it is a bit more difficult because of the eye patch and the depth perception, because sometimes I'll go to do some detail work and I won't even be touching the clay yet because of the depth perception issue. So we have these wires that are sticking out of the top of Godzilla. These will come into play later with some stuff I'm going to do. I'm going to take kind of references from Moby Dick in this and run with it. So, and I'm sorry I'm moving the camera. The camera stand is attached to Godzilla here, and so when I cut this and shake it, it shakes, so I apologize for that. Coming up, as far as Paranormal Veil is concerned, they'll be doing a Brushy Mountain investigation at the Brushy Mountain Prison here in Tennessee. And they're going to be going to Indiana. We will be at CreepyCon that weekend, so we will be running a live feed from their ghost hunting road trip. So, who's that? I got somebody outside. We have to be real careful around here. We're right next to a motel that they reference as the Meth Motel, so we kind of try to be careful with that. You want to go see? But anyway, as you see, I'm removing some of this up here on the neck. So we're removing all the clay here and, you know, smoothing the neck out some more. So once I put the head on, it will fit more in line. So if you can see that, the neck is now thin enough to where when I attach the head to it, it's going to be a much better look. It's going to fit better. We still have to put the the flesh here in between where the jaws open. A little bit of detailing for lips. I've got to put the eye sockets in. I've got to make the eyes, and then we'll start working on detailing the brow ridge and stuff like that. But for the main part, it's just a real quick video on doing the arm. And as you see, I put that on there and kind of figure out, okay, where's the elbow? So we'll have the elbow right about there. So we'll just take a piece of clay and we'll kind of put that, and we'll just put a little more, a bit more of a triangle on there, piece of clay, and then we'll smooth that, and it will eventually go straight into the arm. It's just to give me an idea of where I need to put that bend on the arm. So let's come across here. And then smooth it down. So we put the bend here. So this is where that's going to go. So we've got it marked out where we need to go. And then once we get that done, there's going to be a lot more smoothing in here.
So he's a big guy.
So we'll put smoothing here. Not really too worried. Then we kind of say, okay, what kind of damage are we going to do to this arm? So before I had these cuts in the arm. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm just going to make two really big ones that kind of come down and go in, and maybe come around a little bit on the hand, kind of show that this was a big battle. We can actually put some on the back, kind of where we want to. We can come in here, we can put one here, and we can actually make some of these wounds look like they healed. And then okay, it's a zombie Godzilla. But we can say that this damage happened after some of these earlier wounds. That this was maybe due to constant fighting, and he got into a really big fight with one big one or multiples, and that's what killed him. So we can actually show some healing on some of these wounds and not leave all of them open and gaping and just, looking like he died yesterday. And then we just kind of... Because Godzilla, if you look at any picture of the legendary Godzilla, like the one behind me, there are a lot of scales, so we're actually going to have to do damaged scales, and we're going to have to do damaged keratin. The modern Godzilla doesn't have those keloid scars like he was burnt, so we don't have to worry about that. But we just keep kind of moving along and just pushing and adding and smoothing and figuring out how we're going to do it.
It won't take me, but probably
If we get this done, and I'm going to put a little bit more on the back here. So kind of like when you watch Bob Ross paint, you'll do something, you'll detail it, you'll figure out it's going to go there, and then you'll wind up covering it up. So it's kind of the way I do things. Nothing is 100% in stone, that's how it's going to look when I'm done with it, because I may move it and part of the clay may move a certain way, and I'll like the way it looks, and then I'll sculpt into it or around it to basically detail or emphasize that particular area where I moved the clay around. And you can actually make some of this clay kind of look like it's melted. And then when you go in and you sculpt it, it can give it a damaged look. Now we know if Godzilla can handle nuclear fire, it's going to be really hard to hurt him. So when he had the nuke set off underwater in the temple, you know, that didn't burn Godzilla. It didn't hurt him. It energized him, so there would be no burns. So whatever did this would have to have been extremely powerful. You know, could Godzilla walk into the sun and survive? No. So there are things that you could say, Godzilla's all that in a bag of chips, but there are things that can hurt him and kill him. So the people that are uber Godzilla fans may, oh, well, nothing could kill him because he regenerates. Well, maybe the virus itself killed him. Maybe he had the damage after he died. The virus killed him and turned him into a zombie because he was infected that way. And then part of this virus is that it begins to rot away the material of the body. And if you think about it, zombies, you know, zombie apocalypse, okay, world-ending event, and you think about it, it's not going to last forever. Because, say, 90% of the population is killed off, sooner or later those zombies are going to turn to mush because they keep rotting. So after a certain point, say his leg falls off in the middle of the ocean, okay, well, he can still swim. Yeah, okay, what if it falls off inland? He's got to crawl everywhere. And the more damage, the more stuff that rots and falls off, eventually he's just going to be a big nasty pile of bones and pulverized body fat and muscle and skin and
Goop.
Yeah, liquid goop. And that's the thing that gets me about zombie movies. They have them going on for hundreds and hundreds of years, and they'll like have the same zombie in all the movies, and you're like, okay, first of all, no. The one that I love the most is the Tar Man from Return of the Living Dead. You know, the brains? That was one of the best practical makeups they could have done. But there wasn't much more Tar Man could have done because he was only being held on by a little bit of material, a little bit of muscle, a little bit of sinew, some flesh. He was almost all bone. Jason Part 7, if you really think about it from that point of view, it's got to be a supernatural force keeping him alive. Because the more he deteriorates, the less threat he's going to be. And if you watch those movies as they go on, because of a change in special effects artists and stories, Jason went from Part 6 to Part 7, but yet he had gloves and a belt and a machete, and a Part 7, it was all rotted away. The belt was gone, the gloves were gone. Part 8, he's in Part 7, he's in the water. Spoiler alert. And then Part 8, suddenly his gloves grew back. His clothes healed. Okay, let's go with that. I want to keep this kind of more grounded in what would happen in the real world. So this is not going to be your stereotypical Hollywood zombie. It's going to be more, if this actually happened, at some point this Godzilla would cease to be a threat due to him rotting. That's just the easiest way to put it, wouldn't you think?
Yep.
So, as I do that, you may see me go through and go, oh no, that's too Hollywood, that's too... Okay, first of all, it's a freaking 393-foot tall lizard, really? Yeah, it's fake, I get it. But I want to kind of add some stuff in here where we can go, okay, I can see where he's going with this. So leave comments below. Hit like, subscribe, bell notifications. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. One-Eyed Fat Man Studios. You can also check out Mountain Oddities on Facebook. You can check out Pop Culture Autographs and Collectibles on Facebook and on YouTube. We don't have a YouTube for Pop Culture. We do have for One-Eyed Fat Man. Paranormal Veil Entertainment has both Facebook and YouTube. Pop Culture Autographs and Collectibles has a website now. Check us out check out Hack's Horror Show on streaming services. You got a Roku TV, look it up. Hack's Horror Show. Go online on the Facebook, look up DJ Twitch, check out some of his music and stuff. We're trying to promote people locally. We're trying to really get the name out that we're trying to do something completely and totally different, and we want you to go along with us for the ride. We think we're going to have fun, we're going to enjoy what we're doing, and we're going to kind of say, yeah, things are tough in the world right now, but we still got to have fun. But that being said, my name's Michael with One-Eyed Fat Man Studios, and I'll catch you later.